أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Kamilah Barbour. I am the manager, the curator for the Dar al-Islam collection. I am originally from Brooklyn, New York. I started with the Dar. I was born into the Dar community, specifically Yassin Masjid, which is where the Dar was headquartered. And I'm not going to name the year, but it started somewhere in 1962. I won't say what year I came into the picture. I currently, I work as a graphic designer and an artist, and I am currently the graphic designer at the Council on American Islamic Relations here in DC. So even though I'm located here, my history is very much rooted in Brooklyn and New York. So I'm going to talk a little about the Dar and the collection, but because it is such a large subject, most of my talks, because most of the collection is focused in and around Brooklyn, New York, so I tend to keep my presentations centered around Yassin Masjid and the Dar as it took place in and around Brooklyn. I might venture out a little to Baltimore, DC, Philadelphia, maybe Ohio, but I keep it pretty central. So I'm going to give a quick introduction, 10-15 minute introduction, and because we're a nice cozy group, we'll turn it into more of a discussion about community development in and around the African American communities. So we'll start with the Dar, and I'm going to read a little. The Dar al-Islam movement was a collection of communities under the leadership of Imam Abdul-Karim. It started around 1962, and I don't want to say they broke off from, but they kind of emerged from the State Street Masjid under the leadership of Imam Faisal. It was a grassroots movement established primarily by African American brothers and sisters, and with the strict purpose to uphold the Qur'an and Sunnah. So while we were in a crossroads in history, especially when it came to uplifting the African American identity and finding Black pride and Black nationalism, the Dar actually started to veer away from that a little. Less Black nationalism and more strict adherence to Qur'an and Sunnah. That was the goal. And so everything that was governed sought to serve that purpose. Schools, businesses, it was all for the purpose of establishing adherence and obedience to Allah. So it started out on Herkimer Street. Well, it started on Sumter Street, and then the larger community that is more popular now was located in Brooklyn. It was called Yassin Masjid at 52 Herkimer Place. And its congregants gathered to establish the call of Islam. Though the mosque was named after a chapter in the Quran, the Surah Yassin, they called it the Yassin Masjid, the community as a whole, the whole collective community was referred to as the Dar, loosely referred to as the Dar. And when I say the collective, why? Because it started off with a small headquarters and grew to be one of the largest collection of Sunni masajid established by African American Muslims, totaling about 30 to 32 masajid across the United States, Canada, and the Caribbean. Okay, so this was a pretty big establishment, the largest to date. So why do I get invitations to go speak places? Well, because my father, Khalil Abdul Kabir, was a photographer in the 60s and 70s, and he was a photographer for the Dar. Everybody in the Dar had a job to fulfill, and his job was to document our history And he did that in photos. It just so happens to be the largest collection of this period, the largest collection of photos documenting this period in history. The collection itself has about 200 pieces, and I release them little by little. As I get a chance to sit and write and talk about them, I'll release more pieces. So we have just some of the things that this community has established over the years. The Dar existed and functioned between 1962 to 1982, when there was a bitter split, when Imam Sheikh Jalani came, and Sufi Imam, and many of the congregants went this way, the other went that way. Some politics were involved. It not only ended the Dar as it did in the headquarters, where the headquarters was located, but in time also all of the subsequent satellite masajid or cooperating masajid in this collective sort of fizzed out, came under new leadership, and though many of them still stayed true to a lot of the principles taught in the Dar, as they came under new leadership, and as we started to experience more integration with the immigrant community, the nature and the essence of those communities started to change. So now you won't find any community that calls itself the Dar, but you may find communities now that still have some of the essence that was captured in those primary years. Okay. So all aspects of the Dar al-Islam movement personify the collective aptitude of the participants who raised these communities, and it was with diligent acts of submission to the will of Allah that created traditions unique to the African American Muslim experience, and the benefits of the Dar extended well beyond its humble beginnings, which the effects can still be seen today. So that's a very general, broad view of the Dar, and within the discussion I'll start to talk about some of the things that were established: businesses, schools, navigating relationships with local government, police, and some of those effects that can still be seen.